Breaking. David Ornstein reveals Manchester United's next two signings as Kobbie Mainoo demands exit. Welcome to Unite United News, your most trusted and reliable source for all things Manchester United. At Unite United News, we don't just report the headlines. We dig deeper into the stories that shape our beloved club's future. Today brings explosive transfer news that every Red Devils fan needs to know about, and we're here to break it all down for you in simple terms that make sense. Transfer windows are always exciting times for football fans, but this one feels different. With David Ornstein, one of football's most respected journalists, revealing crucial information about United's plans, we have a clear picture of what the club is trying to achieve before the deadline. But there's also drama brewing with one of our own academy graduates, and the situation is more complicated than many fans realize. The Kobbie Mainoo situation that's shaking Old Trafford. Let's start with the story that has surprised many United fans. Kobbie Mainoo wants to leave the club on loan. Yes, you read that correctly. Our 20-year-old academy graduate, the player many thought would be a key part of United's future, has asked the club to let him go temporarily. But before we jump to conclusions, let's understand why this is happening. Mainoo isn't trying to abandon United or force a permanent move away from Old Trafford. Instead, he's worried about his career development and his chances of making England's squad for the 2026 World Cup. The young midfielder has noticed that Ruben Amorim seems to prefer other players in his position. He's not getting the regular game time he believes he needs to continue developing as a player. For a 20-year-old footballer, regular playing time isn't just important. It's absolutely crucial for growth and improvement. Think about it from Mainoo's perspective. He's at a crucial stage in his career where every month of development matters. If he spends this season sitting on the bench or playing limited minutes, he could miss out on England selection and slow down his overall progress as a footballer. This puts United in a difficult position. Do they keep a talented young player who might not get enough game time, or do they risk losing him temporarily to help his development? It's exactly the kind of decision that shows how complex modern football management really is. United's response: we're not letting you go. Manchester United's response to Mainoo's request has been clear and firm. He's not going anywhere. The club sees him as an important member of the squad, regardless of his current playing time concerns. Ruben Amorim and the United hierarchy believe that Mainoo's development is best served by staying at Old Trafford and fighting for his place in the team. They think that working with top-level coaches and training with world-class players every day will benefit him more than getting regular games at a smaller club. This decision shows that United value Mainoo highly and see him as part of their long-term plans. But it also creates a tricky situation where the player and the club have different ideas about what's best for his development. David Ornstein explained the club's position clearly. Manchester United do not intend to sanction his departure. The club is standing firm, but Ornstein also hinted that things could change if an enormous permanent transfer offer arrived. However, he pointed out that United would then need to find a replacement, making such a scenario very unlikely. The transfer targets that could change everything. While the Mainoo situation dominates headlines, David Ornstein has revealed something equally important. United's next two signings have already been identified. The club is actively working on bringing in a new central midfielder and a new goalkeeper before the transfer window closes. This news should excite United fans because it shows the club is still actively trying to improve the squad. Despite all the talk about financial constraints and spending limits, United are still looking to add quality players who can make an immediate impact. The midfielder signing makes particular sense given the Mainoo situation. If the young Englishman isn't getting enough game time in his current position, bringing in another midfielder might seem counterproductive. But perhaps United are planning for different tactical formations or preparing for potential departures. The goalkeeper signing is equally interesting. Andre Onana has been United's number one since joining the club, but apparently the club hierarchy believes there's room for improvement in that position. This could mean bringing in competition for Onana or potentially replacing him altogether. Sen Lammens, the goalkeeper in United's sights. Belgian goalkeeper Sen Lammens has emerged as United's primary target for the goalkeeper position. But according to David Ornstein, the deal isn't as advanced as some reports have suggested. This means there's still work to be done before any agreement can be reached. Lammens plays for Royal Antwerp and has impressed scouts with his shot-stopping ability, distribution, and command of his penalty area. At 23 years old, he represents the kind of long-term investment that United are looking for in key positions. But why are United looking at goalkeepers when they already have Onana and Altay Bayındır? Ornstein's comments suggest that the club wants an upgrade in that position, which raises questions about whether Onana's performances have satisfied the coaching staff. The journalist revealed that United face a challenge. They want to bring in a new goalkeeper, but they need to move players out first. Can they sell Onana or loan out Bayındır? These are the practical questions that could determine whether the Lammens deal happens. According to Fabrizio Romano, United have already agreed personal terms with Lammens, but they haven't met Royal Antwerp's asking price of €25 million yet. This suggests negotiations are ongoing and could continue right up to the transfer deadline. The midfielder hunt. Who could join United? David Ornstein confirmed that United are actively looking for a new central midfielder, either on loan before the deadline or permanently in future windows. This search has led them to some exciting targets who could transform their midfield options. The journalist mentioned that this midfielder signing is definitely on United's recruitment agenda, whether it happens now or later. This long-term thinking shows that the club has identified midfield as an area that needs strengthening, regardless of what happens with Mainoo. One name that has emerged strongly is Carlos Baleba from Brighton. United approached Brighton about the young midfielder earlier this summer, recognizing his potential and the energy he could bring to their midfield. Baleba has impressed many observers with his physical presence, passing ability, and work rate. However, Brighton's response was predictable. They want to keep their talented young midfielder for at least another season. If United want to sign Baleba before the deadline, they would need to pay more than £100 million, which seems unlikely given the club's current financial situation. Another target that has captured United's attention is Adam Wharton from Crystal Palace. Sources have confirmed to Team Talk that Wharton is actually United's dream target for improving their midfield options. This is significant because it shows exactly the type of player United want to bring in. Wharton has impressed everyone who has watched him play for Palace. His passing range, tactical intelligence, and ability to control the tempo of games make him exactly the kind of midfielder that could thrive in United's system. But like Brighton with Baleba, Palace are reluctant to sell their star player. Palace have already sold Ebereki Eze this summer and don't want to lose another key player in the same window. They've set an asking price of £80 million for Wharton, which is currently beyond what United are willing to pay. Why these targets make sense. Both Baleba and Wharton represent the kind of midfielder that could solve some of United's current problems. They're young enough to be long-term investments, talented enough to make immediate impacts, and have the right mentality to handle the pressure of playing for a big club. Baleba's physical presence could provide the kind of midfield protection that United sometimes lack. His energy and pressing ability would fit well with Amorim's tactical demands, and his passing range could help United control games more effectively. Wharton, meanwhile, offers the creative intelligence that could unlock tight games. His ability to find spaces and create chances from deep positions could be exactly what United need to break down defensive opponents. Both players are also English or eligible for England, which helps with squad registration rules and could provide valuable experience for younger players like Mainoo if he stays at the club. The Rasmus Højlund departure that changes everything. While United are looking to bring players in, they're also working on moving players out. The biggest departure news comes from Italy, where Napoli have agreed a deal to sign Rasmus Højlund from Manchester United. This move represents a significant change in United's attacking plans. Højlund joined the club just last year as a promising young striker, but his development hasn't progressed as quickly as hoped. The decision to let him leave, even temporarily, shows that United are willing to make tough decisions about player development. The deal structure is interesting. Napoli will pay €6 million for an initial loan, with a €44 million by option that becomes mandatory if certain conditions are met. This means United could eventually receive a significant fee for Højlund while giving him the chance to develop his game in Serie A. For Højlund, this move could be exactly what his career needs. Playing regularly in Italy's top league, could help him develop the clinical finishing and physical presence that United hoped to see from him. If he succeeds at Napoli, he could return to United as a much improved player. The financial balancing act. Ornstein's comments reveal the financial reality that United are facing. The club wants to bring in new players, but they also need to balance their books by moving others out. This is the modern football reality that even the biggest clubs must navigate. The journalist mentioned that United are looking to shift players like Antony, Tyrell Malaysia, and others to create space for new signings. This shows that United are being strategic about their squad building, not just adding players randomly. The Hodgland departure creates space and generates funds that could be used for the midfielder and goalkeeper signings that Ornstein mentioned. It's all connected in the complex web of modern transfer dealings. Moving players out is often more difficult than bringing them in, especially when those players have high wages or haven't performed as expected. United's ability to complete these exits could determine whether they can make the signings they want. What this means for squad planning. The combination of keeping Mainoo, signing a new midfielder, and potentially bringing in a goalkeeper shows that United are thinking carefully about squad balance. They're not just making random signings, they're addressing specific areas where they believe improvement is needed. Keeping Mainoo suggests that United still believe in his potential despite his current concerns about playing time. The club might be betting that his situation will improve as the season progresses and he adapts to Amram's tactical demands. Signing a new midfielder could provide competition that helps bring out the best in Mainoo. Sometimes young players develop faster when they have to fight for their positions rather than expecting automatic selection. The goalkeeper situation is more puzzling. If United are satisfied with Onana's performances, why are they looking at replacements? This suggests that either Onana hasn't met expectations or the club wants better depth in that crucial position. The pressure on young players. The Mainoo situation highlights the enormous pressure that young players face at big clubs like Manchester United. At 20 years old, Mainoo is already worrying about World Cup selection and his long-term career prospects. This shows how quickly football careers can feel urgent, even for players who are still very young. Young players today develop in a much more intense environment than previous generations. Social media means that every performance is analyzed immediately, and career decisions that were once made over years now feel like they need to be made in months. The pressure to make England's 2026 World Cup squad is real for Mainoo. International football represents the peak of any player's career, and missing out on a World Cup because of limited club playing time would be devastating for any young footballer. This creates a dilemma for clubs like United. Do they prioritize the immediate happiness and development of individual players, or do they focus on what's best for the team as a whole? There are no easy answers to these questions. David Ornstein's credibility factor. When David Ornstein speaks about transfer news, the football world listens. His reputation for accuracy and insider knowledge makes his comments about United's plans particularly significant. If Ornstein says United are targeting a midfielder and goalkeeper, fans can be confident that these moves are genuinely being planned. Ornstein's statement that Mainoo wants to leave on loan, no doubt about it, carries weight because of his track record. This isn't speculation or rumor. It's information from someone who has proven sources within football clubs and accurate knowledge of transfer dealings. His comments about the Lamans deal being not as advanced as reported also show his commitment to accuracy. Rather than feeding into speculation, he's providing a realistic assessment of where negotiations actually stand. The timeline pressure. With the transfer deadline approaching quickly, United face pressure to complete their business efficiently. Transfer deadlines create artificial urgency that can lead to poor decisions, but they also force clubs to make choices about their priorities. The fact that United are still working on multiple deals so close to the deadline suggests that negotiations have been more complicated than expected. Whether it's disagreements over fees, personal terms, or other factors, something has prevented these deals from being completed earlier. For Mainoo, the deadline pressure is particularly intense. If he's going to leave on loan, it needs to happen soon so he can start getting regular game time at his new club. Every day that passes makes it less likely that a loan move will benefit his development this season. The clubs United are negotiating with also face deadline pressure. They know that United might become more flexible on terms as the deadline approaches, but they also risk missing out entirely if they push too hard. Fan expectations and reality. United fans naturally want to see exciting new signings who can immediately improve the team. The prospect of a new midfielder and goalkeeper should be exciting, but the reality of modern transfers is often more complicated than fans hope. The Lamin signing, for example, might not represent the kind of marquee goalkeeper signing that some fans are hoping for. At 23, he's still developing and might be seen more as a long-term investment than an immediate upgrade. Similarly, the midfielder United eventually sign might not be the established star that fans dream of. If they're looking at loan deals or younger players, it suggests they're thinking about gradual improvement rather than instant transformation. Managing fan expectations while building a successful team is one of the biggest challenges facing modern football clubs. United must balance the desire to excite supporters with the practical realities of squad building and financial management. The domino effect of transfer decisions. Every transfer decision United makes creates consequences for other potential moves. Keeping Manu affects their midfielder search, moving Højlund changes their striker options, and signing a goalkeeper impacts their plans for current keepers. The Højlund departure to Napoli, for example, might free up wages and transfer funds that could be used for other signings. But it also means United have fewer striking options, which could affect their tactical flexibility during the season. If United can't move out players like Antony or Malaysia, they might not have the financial room to complete the signings they want. Modern football requires careful financial planning, and even rich clubs like United must balance their books carefully. These interconnected decisions show why transfer windows are so stressful for clubs, managers, and fans. Every choice affects multiple other possibilities, creating a complex puzzle that must be solved quickly. What Amorim really wants. Reading between the lines of Ornstein's comments, we can understand what Ruben Amorim is looking for in his squad. The pursuit of a new midfielder suggests he wants more options in the center of the pitch, possibly to give him tactical flexibility. The goalkeeper search indicates that Amorim might not be completely satisfied with his current options. Whether that means he wants competition for Onana or a complete replacement isn't clear, but it shows he's thinking carefully about every position. Keeping Manu despite the player's concerns suggests that Amorim sees long-term potential that he doesn't want to give up. The manager might believe that Manu will eventually fit into his system better than current performances suggest. These decisions will define Amorim's first full season at United. If his judgment proves correct, he'll build a squad that can compete at the highest level. If he gets it wrong, the consequences could affect his entire tenure at the club. The financial reality behind the moves. Ornstein's mention of balancing the books reveals the financial pressures that United are facing. Despite being one of the world's richest clubs, United must still operate within financial fair play rules and manage their spending carefully. The need to move players out before bringing others in shows that United's transfer budget isn't unlimited. Players like Antony, who haven't performed as expected, represent both financial burdens and opportunities if they can be sold. The loan deal for Højlund, rather than a permanent sale, suggests that United want to keep some control over the player's future while still generating income and reducing wage costs. This kind of creative deal-making is becoming more common in modern football. These financial considerations affect every decision United make. They can't just sign whoever they want. They must consider wages, transfer fees, and the overall balance of their squad spending. The deadline day drama. Transfer deadlines create natural drama in football, and United's situation is no different. With multiple deals potentially happening in a short time frame, fans can expect a busy few days ahead. The Lamin's goalkeeper deal could move quickly if United decide to meet Antwerp's asking price. Personal terms are already agreed, so the main obstacle is the transfer fee. This is exactly the kind of deal that could be completed rapidly once clubs agree on terms. The midfielder situation is more complicated because United's preferred targets aren't available at prices they're willing to pay. This might force them to look at alternative options or accept that they'll need to wait until next summer. Manu's loan request adds another layer of complexity. If United change their mind and decide to let him go, they would need to find a suitable club and complete the paperwork very quickly. Impact on team chemistry. All these potential changes could significantly affect United's team chemistry and tactical plans. Losing Hodgland removes a striking option, while keeping an unhappy Mainoo could create tension within the squad. Adding new players always requires an adjustment period, especially when they arrive late in the transfer window. New signings need time to understand their teammates, learn tactical systems, and adapt to the pace and intensity of English football. Amorim will need to manage all these changes carefully to ensure they help rather than hurt United's performance levels. Integrating new players while managing existing squad concerns is one of the biggest challenges facing any manager. The psychological impact of these decisions also matters. If players feel the club is making smart moves to improve the team, it can boost confidence and motivation. But if they feel decisions are unfair or poorly planned, it can create negativity that affects performances. Long-term planning versus short-term needs. United's transfer strategy reveals an ongoing tension between long-term planning and short-term needs. Keeping Mainoo serves long-term development goals, but it might hurt short-term squad harmony if the player remains unhappy. Targeting younger players like Lamens shows long-term thinking, but United also need immediate improvements to compete with their rivals this season. Finding the right balance between these competing priorities is crucial for sustained success. The decision to wait until next summer for targets like Baliba and Wharton also shows long-term planning. Rather than overpaying now, United seem willing to be patient and build their squad gradually over multiple windows. What this means for the season ahead. These transfer developments will significantly shape United's season, regardless of which deals actually get completed. The squad Amorim works with will determine his tactical options and the team's competitive prospects. If United can complete their midfielder and goalkeeper signings while keeping Mainoo happy, they could have a stronger and deeper squad than many expected. But if deals fall through and player unhappiness grows, it could create problems that affect the entire campaign. The success or failure of these transfer decisions will be judged over the coming months. Did United make the right choices about which players to keep, which to let go, and which to bring in? Only time will tell. Fan reactions and expectations. United fans are naturally divided about these developments. Some support keeping Mainoo regardless of his concerns, believing that fighting for his place will make him stronger. Others think the club should respect his wishes and let him get regular game time elsewhere. The pursuit of new signings excites many supporters, but there's also frustration about the slow pace of negotiations. Fans want to see decisive action that clearly improves the squad, not uncertain deals that might or might not happen. These mixed reactions show the challenge facing United's leadership. Every decision will be criticized by some fans while being praised by others. The key is making choices that benefit the club's long-term success rather than just satisfying immediate fan demands. Looking beyond the transfer window. Whatever happens before the deadline, United's real work begins when the window closes and focus returns to actual football. The players they have, whether new signings or current squad members, will need to work together to achieve the club's goals. The Mainoo situation, in particular, will need careful management regardless of whether he stays or goes. If he remains at United, the coaching staff must find ways to keep him motivated and developing. If he leaves, they must ensure he returns better prepared to contribute. The new signings, if they arrive, will need time to adapt and integrate. United fans should be patient with new players while also expecting them to meet the high standards required at Old Trafford. Conclusion. A crucial period for United's future. David Ornstein's revelations about United's transfer plans have given us a clear picture of what the club is trying to achieve before the deadline. The pursuit of a midfielder and goalkeeper shows ambition, while the Mainoo situation reveals the complex decisions that modern clubs must make about player development. Whether United complete their planned signings or not, these developments will shape the team's prospects for the entire season. The decisions made in the next few days could determine whether United have the squad depth and quality needed to compete at the highest level. At Unite United News, we'll continue following every development and bringing you the honest analysis you deserve. These are crucial times for our beloved club, and we're committed to helping you understand what each decision means for United's future. The transfer window might be ending soon, but United's season is just beginning. Whatever squad Amorim ends up with, they'll need the full support of the United family to achieve their goals. Keep following Unite United News for all the latest updates, analysis, and insights that help you stay connected to everything that matters at Old Trafford. Remember, at Unite United News, we're not just reporting the news, we're building a community of informed, passionate United supporters who understand what it really means to support this great club. Stay with us for the journey ahead, because the best is yet to come for Manchester United.